to look forward to on Monday Night Football, how to bet the NBA in-season tournament tonight, and what to look out for in Week 14. All that and more tonight on the Golden Ticket Show. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Got killed with the water there. We are back for another episode of the Golden Ticket Show. My name's Dan with Gotham Gambling. I'm here to bring you all the best bets for the upcoming week, as well as all the action that's going on tonight. Sorry about that, excuse me. So we're gonna go over a quick recap of our Sunday as well as a full week recap. If you guys followed us yesterday, we were hot. That was probably one of our best weeks of the NFL that we have had in a while. Yesterday we went 6-2, including hitting a plus 530 parlay. Our only two misses, we put Ayuk to get 60 yards. He finished at 46. I think that one you could blame a little bit on Deebo Samuel going off, and the weather conditions were kind of not in Ayuk's type of game. And the other one was Thielen, same thing. I think the Mingo connection is finally starting to hit, so that might be something to look at. But I had a big hopes for Thielen there. I talked about it on the show about how the Buccaneers always tend to give up at least 60 or more yards to a receiver. This time it just happened to not be Thielen. We picked the wrong one. It was Mingo. But we hit Colts money line, Pacheco over 66.5, Brian Robinson over 40 yards, Mike Evans over 60 yards, Detroit to cover a 5-point spread, and a parlay of Detroit, Indy, LA, and Houston, both LAs and Houston all to win, giving us a 7-unit day in the NFL for Week 13 Sunday. A recap of our week. NCAA basketball, it was not our best week. We were 1-4 with a -3 unit day. We had a couple bad reads on some of these games. Purdue kind of hurt us, which, we'll get into that a little bit later. NBA 8-12-1 with a -1 unit week. Like I said, November was not our month. We were struggling. I think we've kind of found our rhythm towards the end of the month, though. But rough, kind of a midweek, a little bit worse than what I wanted. NFL currently, we are 8-5. So where we were 6-2, we were 2-3 on Thursday night. We did not do well in that Cowboys game. So we are up almost 7 units, and our plays today could potentially put us up close to 9 units for the month on for this week on NFL. NCAA, we did a full fade of Mr. Joe Winkle, who is in a bit of hell. So if you got him on social media, reach out. That's a rough one. I'm on his side with that. Florida State should be in 100% the way they've played. Premier League, we are back betting Premier League after the international break. We went 5-0 this week with a 4.2 unit day. We hit some big time plays. We hit a big time parlay on Sunday to start us off, and really just it was just a great week for us. We're here today. We're up 4 units. We're 22-24 on the week, up 4.36 units. So I always start my weeks on Tuesday because football ends on Monday night during football season. Once football's over, it kind of take a week to adjust to the new schedule. But currently we are up 22-24 with today's full card, having the potential to get us up to about 10 units to end the week. So I'm ready. I'm locked in. I'm ready. So our first bet today, we're gonna go ahead and go into NCAA basketball. Like I said on the last show that we had, we've been kind of going on low value plays, stuff. 1 or 2 bets, nothing too heavy into basketball, because we are hitting a part of the season where a lot of these teams are kind of going back and forth. And hey, Deej, you still owe me $5 from the promo I gave last week, by the way. But so we have one college basketball play today. It is Arkansas minus 12.5. This Arkansas team is literally the proof last week of why I say do not bet. Don't be careful what you bet, because college basketball is the biggest upset sport in any of the major college sports that get followed all over across the media, because you have a lot of these teams that are not good on the road. They're having to travel a lot, and a lot of these younger teams are not used to traveling a lot. And this was proof of it. And this is what I was saying, because you had teams like Wilmington going into Kentucky and winning. Arkansas beat Duke. Georgia Tech beat a team. There was I think 9 upsets last week or this weekend, which is why, like I said, we saw Purdue go down in overtime. We saw a couple of these teams have to scrape out a win in very ugly games. But I like Arkansas minus 12.5 today. They're facing off against Furman. Their matchup versus Duke just shows how hard it is to play in Arkansas. Going into that arena, they were dominant the whole game. And this Furman team, I just don't see them being able to cover on the road. They have not been the best road team to start this year. There hasn't been a lot of data against good teams to really prove that. But I think Arkansas is too hyped up. They want to prove that it wasn't just a one-time thing, and they're going to try to keep this momentum going. I think they're going to win by double digits. If you want to take it down to about 10, if you want to just do that, I think it's around minus 170, 180 last I looked. So that's also worth taking a unit, maybe a unit and a half on if it's in the 200s. But I like the minus 12.5. I think that's a great play. So we're rocking with that one. Arkansas minus 12.5. And that's our only basketball play today. We're starting to dabble a little bit more into the NHL ranks, because I've been really wanting to bet NHL for the last couple years and just haven't really had anything that being where I grew up wasn't a big hockey area, so there wasn't a lot to kind of go around to show me what to look at and stuff. So I'm still going to do a little bit of my research on that. But our NHL play today is we have the Dallas Stars money line. I really like the value on this play. The Stars are 8-2-2 on the road this year, going into a matchup that should be a matchup of 2 potential playoff teams. But the big thing is the Lightning at home this year have not been the best. They're just above 500 at home. And that's definitely something you really have to be worried about. I think last time I checked their record, I'm about to recheck it right now. I think it was 5-5-2 at home. Let me see. And see, this was minus 105 when I took it for Dallas. Now it's minus 115. So I think the odds are kind of swaying back towards the towards the Stars. I think it might have been just one of those, based on their last game, how did they do? These two teams played each other 2 days ago, and Dallas won 8-1. I like I said, this is a home and home series. I just now noticed. I actually didn't even notice it earlier when I looked at it. I was just looking at their stats long term. But yeah, this team got dominated 8-1 in their last game against each other. So that right there just shows how dominant Dallas is going to be. That one was at home, and now they're having to travel back off that. I think this will be a closer game than the last one, but I definitely think that this game will come down to power plays, and I think the Stars are going to be dominant enough to take them down. So this is a pick'em spot. If you're into arbitrate betting, I talked about it before on the show. This is a perfect example of arbitrage betting. And let me show you why. as I'm going to pull this screen up. So you look right here. We have, these are the lines. This is how they face each other the last 5 games, right? So we're going to go back. Look, these are all their lines. If you took the 60-minute money line for either team, it is plus money. So if you took Tampa, it's plus 145. If you take Dallas, it's plus 121. So no matter how much you bet on each team, you will get a profit back. So, I mean, obviously it depends on your books. If we look here, you know, you can get the best line you can get excluding overtime. Both of them are going to be on Caesars. So if you bet, you know, $10 on each, if you bet $100 on each of these, you'll finish with either a $21 profit or a $45 profit. That's the best way to look at this. So if I use these as sort of like a low arbitrage builders. So where it's a game where I don't think this game will go to overtime, so I'm willing to risk the money for it to go on overtime to slowly build up my bankroll a couple dollars. So that's where that one comes into play. But we're going to go ahead and lock that one in Stars money line. And we're going to hit the ad break here in just 1 second. But coming up next is we're going to go over the NBA in-season tournament, our best bets, and we're going to go over everyone here at For Frequency Sake's bracket for the in-season tournament. Coming up after the break.
My name's Ryan Allison. I've spent over a decade immersed in the art of tattooing. Sharply honing my skills has materialized into a diverse and prestigious body of work. Each tattoo reflects my relentless pursuit of excellence, and every client I work with is a living embodiment of that unwavering commitment. I will gladly and wholeheartedly embrace your distinct vision.
And now, so we are going to go over all the best bets and a quick preview of the in-season tournament. So I'm pulling up a bracket of it right now for you guys. So let me know in the comments who do you guys think is going to win the tournament. Let me know. Give me your takes for the tournament. Let's see what we what we can get into from everyone. So we're looking at the bracket here. And so you got Celtics, Pacers, Pelicans, Kings tonight. I think these are good. I think this is a great way to start off the tournament because these are two really good matchup teams. The Celtics tend to play however their opponent plays. So if their opponent is, trying to play lockdown defense, they will play lockdown defense and they'll grind out a low scoring game. If you want to push the pace and try to put up 200 points, they will match you. And they will try to put up 200 points. So I really like this game. Looking at the bets for it, we have two that I really, really like for this one. And it's mainly it's a lean because this team can kind of score randomly and drop these spreads really fast. But I'm taking the Celtics -5 as a lean, so about half a unit play on this one. I wouldn't go a full unit unless you're super confident in this team. But without Porzingis, they're missing a little bit of their interior height, which shouldn't be an issue, but you always love to have that on a team that really only has one big man in Miles Turner. With Al Horford being the only big man and him being as old as he is, it kind of limits their – I don't want to say limits their offensive ability, but it gives them a little bit more wiggle room to lean off him to focus on Tatum. So that's why I said it's a lean. I still like it. I want to see how these numbers move. When I got the spread, it was 234. It's kicked up to 244. You could take that if you want. That would also be one that I wouldn't put a lot on. But this Pacers team without Halliburton got beat by the Celtics 155-105. Which even projecting those numbers, I could see this be like the only thing that limits is now they have their for sure scorer that'll put up 25 to 30 points a game, which could lower lower the Celtics numbers and make this a little bit closer. But with him in, what's the difference in the game plan? Because you have 4 guards that can guard him between Tatum, Brown, Derek White, and Holiday. And you have, which is going to force Bruce Brown, Mathurin, and Obi Toppin to play well. I don't think they have what it takes. But because this team has the most random scores every single night, I'm going to simply just hold out and take the lean here. Like I said, I like the spread, but not for a full unit. I'm taking it a half a unit. If you want to take the over, I would take. Sorry about that, folks. That was weird. My computer just glitched out for like the second time in the last 2 shows. So I apologize about that. But yeah, I would take that lean. The other bet I would take in this game, I want to see what the line is at now. I'm also looking real quick for the over 245.5. The Celtics have not hit that. Have only hit that in 1 game this year, but it was against the Pacers. So I could see why this team is not. They're putting up close to that number, but most of the time they're around like the 225 to 230 mark. So I just would stay away from that one because you never know what's going to actually happen. But another one I really like is going to be Jason Tatum to get over. I think when I caught it, it was at 8.5. But it could be. I think it's went up since to closer towards 9. It's at either 8.5 or 9. If it's at like that, it's a line that I like, but it has some potential to not hit if they this team is one of those teams that they just play off what works best. And if what works best is Tatum leaking out and someone else crashing, they will let that happen. But Tatum in playoff situations, we can't really say it's a playoff game, but it's a tournament game, a game with implications, usually goes all out 24/7. So I like him getting the rebounds. If you don't want to take him getting 10, you could easily take him getting 8, and that's at like minus 270. So you could put that with something like Tatum to get 20 points, or like Celtics to cover like a minus 1.5 spread to win by 2, or something like that. That's like super low odds. That'll jump it down about to closer to like a 150, 160. Makes it easier to hit. But those are the 2 plays I really love for that game. And now this is the game I'm most excited about. I love this spread. I still don't understand why this spread is, this high. The Pelicans are a plus 4.5 underdog to the Kings. And I really do not understand this line whatsoever. I mean, this Kings team has lost back-to-back games against the Pelicans pretty badly too. Not even in a close enough justifiable way. Like they got beat with both of these games. There was no CJ McCollum. They got beat 129-93, and they got beat 117-112. And if you look at the play-by-play, there wasn't a lot. There wasn't much of anything to kind of go over. So there's I just don't understand this line. I'm looking at their last 5, and the only real difference I can see is that the Kings beat Denver and Chicago beat New Orleans. That's the only thing I can see, is because they beat Denver. I think their line's kind of riding high. They're not on like a crazy winning streak. They got cooked by the Clippers. They got scapegoated by the Warriors. They beat the Timberwolves with no Edwards. And then they lost to the Pelicans, was their last game. And then if you look at the Pelicans, they struggled a couple games. They beat 2 teams that were kind of hurt and then lost. So I could see maybe why, but I like the Pelicans here. It's a good bounce back spot. You have CJ McCollum back. You have Herbert Jones. You have Trey Murphy back. You have your full lineup back. And the Pelicans won both of these lineups without their full lineup in, which this is going to give them obviously a bigger advantage. I don't know. I think it's dropped down to 3.5, but I would take this all the way to, if they were -2.5, I have them at -1.5 in my projections. And I really love this spot for the Pelicans because their defense and physicality is something that the Kings just can't keep up with. They don't have anyone to stay with Ingram. They don't have anyone strong enough to be able to guard Zion. And while McCollum and Fox is a decent matchup on its own, Valanciunas has been hot, and Valanciunas has torn up this Kings team because they have to focus on Zion, and he's leaving open. So that's something you got to watch out for. And so that's why I think the Pelicans just outnumber them. The only way I see this happening is if the Kings just get hot and the Pelicans can't keep up, which is a possibility, but I'm rocking with the Pelicans here. I'm rocking with New Orleans against Sacramento and advancing to the next round. And so there's another prop. There's two more props I like for this one. I like Valanciunas' over on rebounds. If I'm looking at it now, his over on rebounds is, I wish I had this up earlier. His over on rebounds is 9.5. He has gotten 10 rebounds, and I think it's like 4 consecutive games. I know we put him in our big double parlay, and it cashed. So here it is. Last 5 games. Let me share the screen for y'all. Last 5 games, he's hit this in 3 of the 5. The only 2 he didn't was game 1 against this Magic team that I think that was just a very weird game, or against the Jazz. But he bounced back great. And then against Philly, who without Embiid were just kind of throwing dogs at him. But if you look, when he plays teams that have a lot of height, he does well. So you got San Antonio, who give up a lot of rebounds. You have Chicago that give up a lot of rebounds. These 2 teams rarely give up big rebound games to centers. These 2 teams give up a lot of rebounds to centers. With that being said, you can even look Sacramento. They give up about 11.6 rebounds per game to centers. And head-to-head this year, 13-11. And even going back all the way to 2021 when he played with them last year. No, not even that, the year before. I don't think he played in either matchups last year against them, except the last 2 of the season. But look, 13, 11, 14, 12, 18-point blowout. So that's obviously why he wasn't getting in that one. 13, 11. He's cashing this line every single time. I don't understand why it's so low. Give me Mr. Valanciunas with at least 10 boards tonight. I also, if you don't even want to do that, I like him getting a double-double. The odds on him getting a double-double, I caught it at 130. It's at 128 right now. I still think it's a viable play. He would be in our double-double parlay if it was for the fact that we don't have enough games to justify putting a double-double parlay together. And I don't like anything other than Halliburton in the second game to get a double-double. And with this is the first kind of playoff situation he's been in, so I don't want to touch that, and I want to see how he does first. So we have that. And so those are our plays for the first night of the in-season tournament. I do want to go over what I think are – so we're going to go – I want to go over everyone's bracket as well as mine on what everyone thinks is going to happen. Let me see if I can find a way to share this screen to y'all. Okay, so here is my bracket right here. We have it. This is what I'm going with. I'm very confident in this one. And if you want more NBA action, more NBA talk, real quick before we go into the dive of this, our man Sam is doing his points in the paint episode tonight. He's probably going to go over everything, go over the late game, and just talk about what's been going on in the NBA for the last week or two. So make sure you guys tune in for that at 8 Eastern. I'm definitely tuned in for that. I think it's going to be a fun show to watch. I'm really excited for this tournament. So make sure you guys tune into that as well as over here. We got, like I said, we have a lot. I've said every show, we have a lot of great content. It's out almost every single day, and we're trying to get some stuff, and we try to get as best stuff out as we can for you guys. So make sure you guys tune in, subscribe. So my bracket. So let me go through my thought process here. So obviously we just talked about, I think the Kings kind of got lucky. If you looked at a lot of their they were playing a couple of these teams that just didn't have like there were injuries, there were like back-to-backs with it. Like it was just stuff that there was too many situations that put them in this position to have a top spot. So that's why I'm rocking with the Pelicans here. I think the Pelicans will win this. I think with a couple of days of rest, Durant will be available tonight or tomorrow night. And the way the Lakers have been playing, I just don't see them beating the Suns team the way the Suns have been playing the last couple games. So I'm obviously going to bite into that, and I'm taking the Suns here. As well as when these two teams match up, like I said, I think the Suns are legit. They've been playing really well, so I'm going to tail them again, and we're going to take them in the semifinals to beat New Orleans. I think just the way they play, they can lock down Ingram enough where Zion's not going to matter as much, and Durant and Booker and Eric Gordon should be able to take that team out. We could potentially see Beal back. That would be a good addition, but between those two, I like their odds. And over here on the East, now the Celtics got put in a division with probably some of the best teams, and so they weren't able to come out strong, but they managed to make it with some cheap play at the end there. But I think they take out the Pacers tonight. I think they have too much experience in these type of situations, and they have their bench is too deep and too good to match up with the Pacers. So I'm taking that. I don't know how I feel with this one, but I like the Bucks because the Knicks always show up in situations like this where you think they don't have a shot. But I think as much as a lot of people say it's the in-season tournament, doesn't really mean anything. If the Bucks lose in the first round of this, then a lot of people are going to be asking the questions of, can they perform in the playoffs? Can they do this? Everyone on their team's healthy. I think they'll be good to go. I think with the ability of Lopez in the 3-point range, it's going to stretch Mitchell Robinson out enough that either Lopez is going to have a great night or Giannis is going to have a great night. So I really like that. We do have a couple bets for that will be coming out tomorrow, so make sure you guys stay tuned for that. But I think the Bucks take this one with ease. Celtics Bucks, we could potentially see a Drew Holiday revenge game. I just don't see any way the Bucks are going to beat. They could beat the Knicks. I don't think they could beat the Celtics. And I have the Celtics winning it all. Same thing. They're just too deep. They're too good. It would take a really bad shooting night from Tatum and Brown for them to lose. I think the tournament is theirs, and they're going to win it. That's how I'm going. We are going with my man Doug. So Doug, I'm curious his thought process here because I know he's a Bulls fan, so I'm surprised he has the Bucks going all the way. But I mean, obviously, me and him have the same idea towards this the Celtics game. He's got in the Bucks. He has the Bucks beating the Celtics though. I'm curious if he thinks this might be like a Giannis or Damian Lillard going off, or what that situation is going to be like. We obviously the Sun. Now I'm curious with the Kings over the Pelicans, his thought process with that one. But Kings beating the Suns is I wonder if he was going for a wow factor there. So that's interesting to me. But Kings win the whole thing is I think it's like plus like 4,000 or something. So if you want something to really root for an underdog that's kind of an overdog, then I would take that one. In the words of Mr. Joe Winkle, I'm rooting for chaos, was what he told me when he sent me the screenshot of his bracket. As you can see, look, Kings and the Pacers fine. He's got everything but upsets except for the Suns Lakers in the first round and the Kings to beat the Pelicans. He's got the Kings beating the Pacers. Maybe he wants to see a Halliburton and Sabonis revenge of the trade kind of thing. I don't know, but a very chaotic bracket. I like that. I love it. I'm for it, Joe. And Sam's bracket. So Sam's with me on the Pelicans. I know he likes the Lakers in this matchup, so that's interesting to see. He's got the Pelicans beating the Lakers, though. I do agree. If the Lakers can get past the Suns, I don't think they'll get past either the Pelicans or the Kings. So I do agree with him there. He's like me. He's with me. He's got Boston winning it all. He just has a different team in the West. That's the only thing I think different we have is he has the Pelicans making it to the finals and the Lakers beating the Suns in the first round. So, but I like it. I think it's a good bracket. I think we all have some good brackets. So once again, that is Sam and I have the Celtics winning. And Doug and Joe have the wrong brackets. They have the Kings winning. So that's how everyone is going with their brackets today to start today's matchup for the in-season tournament. That will be it for our NBA segment. We will have some more stuff coming out on our Twitter page, Gotham Gambling. So make sure you guys stay tuned in for that. That will be coming up soon. We're coming up after the break. We will be breaking down the Week 14 slate for you early. So make sure you guys stay tuned.
Durham Remodeling has been serving the Quad Cities area since 1973. And with over 50 years of excellence on their track record, you'll see why it's so easy to trust their experts when it comes to all of your home improvement projects. This family-owned business has you covered on all your needs. Protect your home or building from the elements today and get great roof repair services. Need new windows? No problem. Durham Remodeling can upgrade your windows and doors. Whether you want to upgrade the little details in your home or office, or want to tear a room down and start fresh, the expert contractors at Durham Remodeling have your back. Even the smallest changes can completely transform your space. Ready to start entertaining your friends for backyard barbecues? Durham Remodeling will help you plan, design, and build your deck and patio for the perfect outdoor space. Durham Remodeling's work is 100% guaranteed, so you can rest assured that you're getting the best service around. Call 309-786-6715 today for your free estimate for all your roofing, siding, flooring, windows, and painting needs. That's Durham Remodeling, 309-786-6715.
And we are back. So, apologize. We're getting our full card posted out on Twitter right now. Make sure you guys tune in at Gotham Gambling on X, the artist formerly known as Twitter. But we do have we have some NFL action that I'm excited after this last week. We got really good this week. If you remember from our show last week, we had 3 plays that we absolutely loved that we took early on, and they all cashed. We had the Chargers at -3.5. It jumped up to a 6.5, and it cashed at -3. If you had the 6.5, that was a bad beat. Apparently, both teams forgot how to play football, and it was one of the most boring games I've ever seen in my life. We had the Cardinals Steelers under 40. We got saved by some rain out in Pittsburgh. Really made that game kind of perfect for an under. We saw James Conner go off. We saw Najee Harris and Jalen Warren have a great game, even though we saw Pickett go down. So that's going to be something we'll talk about a little bit later. And we had the Lions -4.5. They covered that 4.5 spread just barely. They had me really confident, and they scared the living crap out of me the minute I turned that game off, went to another one, and saw the what the score was. So that is something that we're really really lucky for, that we did not get a bad beat of a lifetime with something with that team, kind of just getting smacked after going up 21-0 in the first 10 minutes. So we have the plays I love that we're already taking, that we've already put in. The first, we're going to start with the 1 p.m. slate. The first one I have is Detroit, Chicago over 45.5. Now, this one has, the best way I could put this one is, this one makes me a bit nervous because as I've seen, there's a trend. If you go to, there's like NFL team rankings website, teams after the bye on the road are like 2-9 in favor of the under. Like they just have not played well in that game. Maybe not, I don't want to say maybe not played well, but their defense has kind of picked back up. Maybe it was a good time for them to reset on defense. But this is the Chicago Bears we're talking about. This isn't like a, some team like the Bills or the Eagles that need like a reset week and they're going to come off it strong. This is the Chicago Bears. They went over on this game just 2 weeks ago when they played each other. And the Lions, ever since their bye week, have had a total of 50 and more every single time. So I really love the 45. The weather might be an issue. I'm about to actually look up the weather out there for that, because that is going to be important. I might change my mind on that. We might switch to an under. We're around because the weather on Sunday, it's going to be rainy and with some sleet and some snow, so we could potentially see a under. But the big thing is the fact that their run game is dominant. This isn't like the Bears run game where we don't know who's running the ball. They kind of are going in and out, haven't had the best running game. This Detroit team is solid on their run game, and if they're not going deep, they're going to probably throw a lot of short passes, which is going to be great for Amon-Ra and great for like Jameson Williams, and Josh Reynolds, I think, might get a couple, even chances as a running back this week. So that's something to look at. I think they could score almost 40 by themselves. I would watch this line. If you see this line start to go down in the next day or so, I would take the under then, and I would probably switch my bet. But right now I'm going with the over for the Bears-Lions game because they went over a couple weeks ago and the Bears suck. The next one I have is the Ravens -7. I only put a half a unit on this one because Ravens are coming off a bye week. We just talked about unders. 7-point score, a 7-point spread, and under is kind of worrisome. But the Ravens have been really good. Coming off a bye week against a Rams team that had a great outing against a top-tier defense. But the difference is the offense of the Browns was so bad that they didn't really have to worry about, how do we match up with this team? What do we do to keep pace with this team? They didn't have to worry about that. But this Ravens team, they do. Lamar Jackson should be able to pick apart this defense. Their line has been a lot stronger this year. So we might not see, a lot of worrisome with Aaron Donald coming through. I mean, obviously he's going to get through as much as he can, and he's going to get through a lot. But Lamar's getting the ball out a lot quicker. They're playing a lot better. They didn't really have a lot to go over and fix during their bye week. So I'm really curious to see what they're going to do going into this week and how they're going to play the rest of the season with the first currently tied for first place right now. The next one, I have Colts money line. You can take the 2.5 if you want. Right now it's at 2.5. You can take that if you want, but I am going to take the money line for that game against the Bengals. I understand why this spread is where it's at because the Bengals haven't played Zach. We don't know what's going to happen. Browning could come out and have like one of the greatest games we've ever seen, and the spread's going to jack up the other way. But I don't understand why the spread is 2.5 right now for a Bengals team that doesn't have a quarterback. Yes, he has a lot of weapons, but they don't really use it. They're going to rely on the run game against a team that has a great run defense, and they're going to be going to face pretty soon next week let me see if I can find where the Colts rank. They go up against this Colts defense that kind of got pulled apart last week by the we got kind of pulled apart by the Titans. Derrick Henry played great. They give up about 129 rushing yards a game, and they've given up 15 rushing touchdowns this season. But I don't think Mixon is going to be able to do this by himself. I think the Colts kind of had a scare last week they shouldn't have, and they know how badly they need to win this game, knowing that this could potentially be the tiebreaker between them and Houston for that last wild card spot. So they're going to come out hard, and they're going to come out trying to win. So I'm taking their money line right now. I want to see what the spread does. If the spread doesn't move one way or the other, I would take the 2.5. But I would say by Wednesday, if this spread has moved like maybe a point or two, then I would use your best judgment. But yeah, I really like that money line. I did half a unit on it again. I always do low unit to start the week because you don't want to put too much, and then all of a sudden the injury report comes out, and then you're having to cash out and get like 2 cents back after you put in like $10-$20. So I always take that. The games I'm not touching in the 1 o'clock window. I'm not going to touch Texans Jets because betting on the Jets and the Texans just makes me sad. I'm not going to touch the Patriots Steelers on Thursday night. I do have a play I like for it. I think if you wanted to bet anything, I took the under at 33 yesterday. It's already down to 30. This line started at 41 last week. It's already down into almost at 29 points. I think that can hit, but I just wouldn't take it. Like why are you putting yourself through that on a Thursday night watching? That's why I'm glad we have a big NBA. Oh no, that's right. There's no NBA games Thursday either. So we are subjected to a Thursday night of Steelers and Patriots with nothing else to watch but hockey and maybe there's a good college game. There's only one college basketball game on that day. That's going to be worth watching, and it's Iowa versus Iowa State. That's it. There's no other big matchups. It's like the only other matchup I see right now is Rust College versus North Alabama. And I don't think anyone wants to watch that one. So Thursday is going to be a very tough day for sports fans. 4 o'clock games, I'm not touching anything. I'm kind of waiting and seeing how Jaguars Browns. I'm going to wait and see because -3 feels really low for a game where it's a practice squad quarterback in the Jaguars, but Trevor Lawrence has just not looked the best this year. So I think I'm just going to wait and see. The over-under is 36. And if I took anything, it would be Jaguars money line. It's at 152 right now is the best odd, but I would just wait. Like I said, Colts Bengals should be an easy one. The 4 o'clock games, you could take the 49ers on the spread right now. It's 10. It'll probably get up closer to 13 or 14. But at that point, I would just take the money line and I would put it with something like the Texans to win, or the Niners and the the Dolphins to win on Monday night. It's not something that you could just lower the odds and just bite the bullet if you wanted to bet it. I am seeing something I'm curious about, and that is the Broncos game. I actually might go ahead and take this one at half a unit right now on the Broncos on the spread, because why are they +3 right now? to the Chargers. The Chargers don't have a good passing defense. They have not played well. They just barely clung to life against a Chargers team that has not played well. Or it's a Patriots team that just has not played well. I don't understand that at all. So I'm gonna go ahead and take that +3 right there. Chiefs Bills, I'm just gonna enjoy the game. Eagles Cowboys, I'm just gonna enjoy the game. And then we have 2 Monday night games next week. We have the Dolphins Titans and the Giants Packers. I don't like either of those games. I think if you had to take something, you could probably take Packers -6. Or you could even take Dolphins -13.5 right now. But other than that, there's not really a lot. So that's what we have right now. We're going to go to our last ad break. And then we're going to talk tonight's games, what we like, and what we got coming up the rest of this week.
For frequency's sake, has you covered on all things sports. From the squared circle to the hardwood and the gridiron to the speedway, we've got something for everyone. Walk down the aisle with the boys from Cards Subject to Change every Sunday as they take a deep dive into everything pro wrestling. Need your gambling fix? We've got you there. Enter Pit Row with Rod Villagomez and Fast Money as we win the checkered flag with NASCAR, Xfinity, and truck race winners and props. Football more your style? Explore the waters of NFL DFS with DFS Deep Dive with Brian Craighead and Jordan Kernan each week. More into the science portion of the game? We've got a double dose of action there. The Professor John Bush and Dennis Michelson take you into their science lab and dissect your week in the data lab. Want an analytical take? Nick Gurl and the team at Gridiron AI come to you each week with The Lab. Need to know who to start last minute? The network's flagship show, For Fantasy's Sake, is here in a pinch. The fellows come to you live every football Sunday from 10 to 11:30 Central with the week's best DFS, gambling, and lineup advice. And wrap up your Sundays with Joe Winkle and Nick Brinks as they come to you live with educated ignorance looking at all the day's action. Can't get enough of Joe? He comes to you 3 times a week. Not enough football on Sunday? Not a problem. Kick your feet up at lunch on Monday and slip on into the football lounge with Mark and Dan while they look at the week that was in news, notes, and more. For frequency's sake, you know what we mean.
Can't get enough of Joe. Ain't that the truth? We can never get enough. And it's crazy how Joe's become one of my best buddies now. And it's been less than 13 weeks into the season, and now me and Joe are just arguing like we've been friends for 20 years, and I love it. So last thing we're gonna go over tonight is Monday Night Football. Now, I told y'all a couple weeks ago, I don't like primetime games because it just feels like there's too much pressure and too much analysis of what's going on. That lines get read a lot sharper than normal. But if you find stuff early in the morning, it's great. For example, can the Bengals keep this game close is the big thing I'm looking at this week, because they played Kenny Pickett and the Steelers, and while they went for 400 yards, they only scored like 17 points, I think, right? They got 400 yards, but they scored 16 points. So they were getting it down there, but they weren't scoring. And so I think that is that a testament to the defense, or is that just how poor this offense is? But my first play of the day that I really like is going to be Christian Kirk over 49.5 receiving yards, putting a unit on that one. Kirk has went over this line just about every game. The Bengals play one of the most strict man defense play styles in the NFL. Kirk has feasted on this all season. So I like Christian Kirk to go over this line. A guy I've been following a lot, Mr. Picks Pro over on Twitter. Make sure you guys check him out. He's in the middle of a heater right now. He on a roll, and I love watching what he's doing. I got this line from him. So make sure you guys go check him out. The other one we have is going to be Ridley anytime touchdown. So there's a reason why I picked this line, and I'm going to pull it up right now for you guys. and I'm going to show you why I love this. So if I can find him here. God, why do they always put these guys so far down? There he is. It's not in alphabetical order either. That's the weird thing. So, okay, so for him to get a touchdown right now, look, now he's gotten, in the last 2 weeks, he's gotten one. He went 5 straight weeks without one. He's only got 5 on the season. But there's a reason I picked this, and that is this. Look, so he is the 3rd most target rate of any player on this team right now. But in the red zone, he has the highest target rate. When they're in the red zone, he has double the amount that Christian Kirk has and almost quadruple the amount that Ingram has. Ridley is their red zone threat. I think Kirk is their guy to get them down there to get the big plays, and Ridley is the guy that catches it in the end zone for him. Now, the big difference is, look, versus the amount of targets that we have for the red zone. Look, we got 18, 23, 26, 28. There's 31 passing targets. The red zone rushing attempts alone has went over this just between, look, 34, 39, 42, 44, 45. Now, this team, the Bengals don't give up a lot of touchdowns in the red zone to wide receivers. They've only given up just under 1 a game, but they're giving up about 3 touchdowns, a little under 3 touchdowns a game. I think that with Etienne not being 100%, they're going to try to force them to throw this ball in the red zone. I think Ridley is due for one. I think he keeps this touchdown streak going. He goes 3 straight games, and I really love that right there. And then our final play today is going to be we've done a parlay of the day every day, except for I think one, because there just wasn't enough games to justify making one, and I couldn't find a good one. But we are 3-0 for the month of December on plays of the day. And normally they're about like we had a plus 110. We had a plus 500 and a plus 300. Today's is a minus 145 because there's not a lot of volume, but we have a nice little 2-legger. It is Trevor Lawrence, 200 yards, Jason Tatum to get 8 rebounds. That is our, play of the, that's our play of the day. Honestly, I think that's a lock. That should be easy. Lawrence should get 200 before the third quarter. Tatum getting 8 rebounds in a close game is pretty much a lock. So those are our 3 plays today for tonight's game. Last one's kind of like a mixed parlay, but that's what we liked. Once again, we're going to go. We have our whole card posted on Twitter, so if you guys want to tail that, games are starting in about 10 minutes, so make sure you guys lock those in. But we're going to go over our card one more time, and I'm just going to pull it up for you guys. Our full card right over here. We have the Dallas Stars money line at minus 110. We have Boston minus 5. As you see right here, half a unit. It's a lean. Not doing a lot on this one, but I do like the play. Our parlay of Lawrence, 200 yards, Tatum, 8 rebounds at minus 145. We actually had Arkansas at 11.5, not 12.5. I think that line is actually still at 11.5, but I will check that. Yeah, it's still at 11.5. I don't know where I got 12.5 from. So 11.5 for Arkansas. We have the Pelicans plus 4, Valanciunas double-double, and Christian Kirk over 49.5 receiving yards, and Calvin Ridley anytime touchdown. And as you see right here, here is our 4 future bets for this upcoming week. We have the over 45 in Detroit, Chicago, Indy to beat the Bengals, Baltimore minus 7, and Denver plus 3. Put a half unit. I actually put about 0.6, 0.7 units. I think I just clicked these too quick, so I'm going to adjust those later on tonight. But that is our card for the day. That is our best bets for the day, and that is our week ahead. So make sure you guys check in tonight with Educated Ignorance with Joe. They're going to do a breakdown of the game and just talk about everything going on in the NFL from the last couple of days. We might get another therapy session for Florida State. So if you're ready for that, you're ready for that one. Just be prepared. But that's our card for the day. That's what we got for today. I'm very excited about tonight. I think tonight's gonna be a great game. We haven't had NBA in like 2 nights, so I didn't want to overbet it because I knew I was gonna go crazy, so I stayed away. Make sure you guys stay tuned on our Twitter because if I can find something, we're gonna post a lotto play for the 10 o'clock game tonight for that New Orleans game. So make sure you guys stay tuned because that will be going out probably in the next 30 minutes. Once again, my name is Dan Hancock with Gotham Gambling, the Golden Ticket Show at For Frequency's Sake Network. Make sure you guys like and subscribe, and thank you for watching.